some clamps. We're going to use two clamps. We're going to use two clamps because we have a very long burette. So one clamp here, one clamp a little bit higher. Now we have the burette. Can someone go answer the door, please? After our demonstration. Can we help you? Okay. Alright. Now, since this is made of glass, it is going to be somewhat sensitive, so you want to be careful when you're tightening these arms. You don't want it to be too tight because it might shatter, but it's not that thin that we have to really truly worry about. Alright, so nice and snug. For our purposes, do we notice that this is already too low because we can't get this past it? So we want to actually make this a little bit higher. So we want to be able to fit this underneath, but we don't want it to be dropping from too high up. So just enough for clearance. All right. Spill tray. And for today's demonstration, I'll put a backdrop of white paper.
Do we need that for our lab?
No. If you'd like to, you can. It makes it easier to see the color change. Okay, other things we have today. As much as I love your pipette bulbs, I realize they're going to be hard to do since we're doing 3 trials. So this is called a pipette helper. Instead of using a bulb, pushing it out, sucking it up, pushing more air out, we'll use this. Pretty much the same function, except very easy to use.
Pipette helper?
Pipette helper. Yep. Helper, like a handy helper. Alright. Oh, let's go over our chemicals. Here is our analyte. The analyte is hydrochloric acid of an unknown concentration. We don't know this.
Do you know?
I do.
How many milliliters are we going to use?
Good question. Let me just introduce chemicals first.
Okay.
We also have our titrant, which is 0.66 molarity sodium hydroxide. Okay. This is our base. 0.66 molarity. Now, we need to obtain a certain amount of our analyte. For today's purposes, we're going to use 25 milliliters of the analyte.
Can you put more if you'd like, or?
You can, it's just going to change your calculations. That's fine. So, I'm going to put this inside. I'm going to extract 25 milliliters.
Oh, that's so cool.
There are tick marks on the side. And I can transfer this into my flask. This makes it nice and easy. And then again, just like our pipette bulb, there's a extra air release which we can use to push out the extra drop. Alright. We're done with this. Now, in order to observe the color change, we need something that will change color. Right now, this will not change color. So, we're going to add 3 drops of phenolphthalein, which is our pH indicator. We can check spelling later. We're going to put 3 drops. 1, 2, 3. Now, because it's going to be harder for you all to see from where you're sitting, I'm going to add about 5 more. Phenolphthalein. I'll put the spelling on the board. Alright. Swirl it around, make sure it's all mixed up. And Just like we were expecting, if it's acidic pH, it will not have any color. Good. Now, this is going to be the first time that you're using a burette, so the first thing we want to do is make sure it's nice and clean. So, you're going to take a beaker. I'll have to share some squirt bottles. This is filled with distilled water, pure water. The point is, so we clear this out. Maybe someone in the previous class didn't clean it completely. You're going to want to spray it in here. Oh, important note. When the burette handle is horizontal, it's closed. Nothing comes through. If it's vertical, liquid will come out. Okay? So when you're pouring this in, you obviously want to make sure it's closed. You can pour your liquid in, squirting water out, trying to clean the inside.
You have to fill it up or just put it in a roll?
Wait, we clean it before?
Yeah, we clean it before with water.
Oh,
This is pure water, distilled water. Okay. Now we're going to release some of this. Okay. So if it's completely vertical, it's going to drain as fast as possible. If you want to slow the drip, you can change the angle very slightly, so it goes drop, 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 drop. Okay? But for our purposes, we're just trying to clear this out, evacuate it, cleaning it. Okay. Now, this is pure water, maybe some impurity. So what we're going to do is just get rid of it. Alright, now let's close it up. Pour this down the drain. Okay, now, we're going to need our titrant. So this is where our second part comes in. We have our titrant, 0.66 molarity sodium hydroxide. I'm not going to have it in here for you tomorrow. This is harder to pour out because it gurgles a lot. So tomorrow you'll have it in a different container. You're going to need to pour some out into the speaker.
How much of that are we going to need?
This burette only holds maximum 100 milliliters.
Okay.
So you don't want to exceed more than that at this point. So you have your titrant here. Now, to reduce spillage and splash, you're going to put a funnel on top. And you're going to pour slowly and carefully into the burette, making sure that this stopcock is closed. Otherwise, it's going to pour out on your table. This is not acid. This is sodium hydroxide. This is our base. Okay. Alright, I'm only going to fill up to about 20. And we'll record from there. Okay. Now, the only other problem that presents right now is that even though this says 20, if we pour it out, it's still not going to be 20 because there's a little bit of air here. So, we're going to open it up so that the tip fills up and our reading is actually accurate. So we're going to get a few drips coming out. Okay. A few more, just in case. Okay. So now, we have our level, which is almost exactly 20. So, because this is our start, I need to record that. I'm going to remove this. Alright, and then we can put this to the side. We are still going to need this for the future. Alright, now we're going to start our titration. I know that this was 20 milliliters at the start. I know we used 25 milliliters of our hydrochloric acid, which we don't know the concentration of. And then we're going to start our titration. So, you had a little bit of practice playing with this stopcock when you're washing it and when you're extracting the little bit for the tip. Now you want to make sure that you are in full control and only let a few drop by drop at a time. Okay. So it's going to take some finesse to get used to it. So you're going to be dropping And you're going to be stirring constantly. From my angle, I can see a little bit of pink appear and then disappear, but from your angle, you'll probably see nothing. It'll take some time, so I'm going to expedite. Don't do this in your lab.
You just know.
I just know. Okay. Okay. All right, so we're going to keep adding drop by drop. See the pink appearing and disappearing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good. This is what exactly we want to see. Now, it is important to actually stir it, because if not, it'll look like the pink stays there. So we might think, oh, we're done. We stop it, but then as it dissipates, as it spreads out, as it diffuses, the color starts to fade. So you want to make sure to continuously agitate it, being careful of the burette tip. You don't want to break the tip. Okay. So we're going to continue in a dropwise fashion until the pink starts to stay longer.